Welcome back to Springer Homestead on another Mailbag Monday. I'm Nikki, and your question this week is it worth working with a cull buyer when it comes to rabbits? So for folks who are not aware of what a cull buyer is, cull buyers are just buyers who come through and buy basically rabbits that breeders are culling out of their program. This could be older rabbits that are kind of at the end of their breeding life. It could be fryer-aged rabbits or fryer-sized rabbits that just don't meet the needs of the breeding program. It could just be, maybe you're downsizing and moving a breed out, culling down a herd to get your numbers down. And what these cull buyers do, a lot of times those animals are being utilized for dog food. That's what most of them in the United States go for in the cull buyers. Some of them, depending on the states, may be processing them for actual meat sales for human consumption or restaurant. The cull buyer I work with here in Oregon travels all over the western seaboard and is starting to travel throughout the country. And he actually supplies grocery stores and that kind of stuff and sells it out of his own meat business. So that's kind of what a cull buyer does. They do things differently. Every cull buyer does it a little different. They may have size requirements. Usually they pay by the pound. Some of them pay by the pound on when the rabbits are received at the processing plant. Some of them pay at pickup. It just depends on the buyer and what the situation is. So as I mentioned, I have a cull buyer that I work with. I've mentioned it in videos before. I've worked with Jason over at Brer Rabbit for, I'm going to say 4 or 5 years now, off and on. He has come and gone a few times for his own personal reasons and business reasons. The big thing right now is that even though most cull buyers in the United States are paying better, most of them have recognized that there's a need to come up in price based on the higher feed and gasoline costs. Even though most of them have done that, unfortunately, in some breeds, it's still financially not worth it. Now, if you've got a rabbit breed that is reaching a 5 pound, and that's usually what most of them, are paying the best premium from 5 to 6.5 pounds or somewhere in there. If you've got a breed that is hitting that consistently by, 10 weeks, you're probably somebody that can sell to them and make enough money back to at least pay for your feed, if not for your time. Now, for somebody like me right now, my Harlequins take a little bit longer. Oftentimes, we're not hitting the 5 pound mark until 14 weeks. Feed conversion drops off after 10, max of 12. So every little bit that I'm getting is costing me more money. On top of that, his pickup point is 35 miles from me. So that means by the time I get in the Suburban and drive out there, I've spent close to $10 in gas just to get out there. So that's the first $10 that I make is basically in the gas tank, and the last $10 I make is going in the gas tank to get home. So unless I've got a big volume of rabbits, it's not really paying for me right now. So is it worth it? If you are producing enough rabbits in a big enough breed that is growing fast enough, and your feed is still at a reasonable cost. And really, guys, you're going to have to sit down and do some math here as to what it's all costing you. It may be worth it for you. It may not. And that's kind of where I've hit, where for the most part, unless I am way behind on butchering, for the most part, I'm butchering them myself. We produce a lot of rabbits. Thank God I've got a lot of dogs that will eat meat. And for me right now, it's just not worth it, even with the higher pay that they're paying. And he's paying about $2.25 a pound live weight. Anything under 5 pounds or over 6.5, that drops to $1 a pound. So you can see where, unless I've got a whole bunch of rabbits hitting at least that 5 pound mark, it's just not cost effective. So is it worth it? Maybe. That's all I can tell you is put pen to paper, figure out what things are costing you. Find out if you've got a buyer in your area. I know some people are working with buyers and some people aren't. But if you are working with a buyer, seriously sit down and look at your numbers and see if it's actually worth your time and money. I know a lot of people right now are looking at it and they go, oh, but I get a check. Well, that's fine that you're getting a check, but be realistic. Is that check meeting or exceeding the cost of your feed? If it's not, then you're in a losing business venture and all you're really doing is making money for the other guy. All right, so there you go. That is my answer to, is it worth working with a coal buyer? Unfortunately, I don't have the perfect answer. It really is going to be pretty situation dependent. But there you go. If you have questions, if you want to see me answer something on a Mailbag Monday coming up, leave them down in the bottom. You can also email me at srhomestead@yahoo.com. You can hit me on Instagram or on Facebook. I'm pretty much everywhere. So that's it for today. Happy homesteading.